Hello, everyone. This is Kyle Andrews with Fox Sports 1340, and I'm here to talk about the Orioles. They finally reported to camp today on Tuesday, February 13th of 2018, and there were a bunch of big stories today. Kevin Gossman signed a $5.6 million deal to avoid arbitration with the team. He was actually the last unsigned player that was left for the Orioles when it came to arbitration. Now, there are some moves that the Orioles could possibly make. Colin McHugh was talked about in my article yesterday. Colin McHugh had a 5-2 ERA with a 3.55. He had a 5-2 record with a 3.55 ERA last season. He has a career ERA of 4.08. So Colin McHugh could be a solid fit for the Orioles. He's one guy to look out for, and another player to look out for is Jake Odorizzi, who's 27 years old. He had a 10-8 record last season with a 4.14 ERA. He does hold a career 3.83 ERA, however. And then the Orioles also looked at Tim Lincecum yesterday, or they will be looking at him this week. Tim Lincecum is set to throw. He'll have a whole camp per se that he'll have for a bunch of, or a showcase. He'll have a showcase for all these teams to come look at him pitch. Obviously, Tim Lincecum didn't pitch last season. Last time he pitched, he had above a 9 ERA just in a few outings with the Los Angeles Angels. So Tim Lincecum's still trying to work his way back to the majors. He was out of baseball last season. He's an interesting player, but with how the Orioles are kind of the direction that they're going in, it looks like they're going to take a look at their younger players first. And if they feel like they have a chance to, compete, they'll definitely look at some of these older, more seasoned veterans. As of right now, there are some guys that are those younger pitchers that have a chance to make it into majors next season. Right now, it looks like Nestor Cortez will most likely be the number 3 starter if things don't change anytime soon. I know the Orioles are still trying to look at Andrew Cashner, Lance Lynn, and Alex Cobb as well. There have also been some talks about the Orioles possibly bringing in Jaime Garcia, who most recently pitched with the New York Yankees last season. He also pitched with the Braves and the Cardinals in past seasons. So he's another guy. The Orioles always want to bring in another lefty. They want to try to even out their rotation to an extent. It's righty dominated most likely, and it usually is each season. But at this point in time, it would make sense for the Orioles to try to go out and get another lefty, even if it isn't, that big splash signing that everybody is clamoring for fan-wise. As for, some of the other moves that they could make, they could get, you have Jason Vargas, who's a lefty as well. He had a really good start to the beginning of last season, but he kind of tailed off at the end. You have Andrew Cashner, who had a really solid 2017 season with the Texas Rangers. You have Alex Cobb, who's also another solid pitcher that the Orioles have seen a lot of in Tampa Bay. They've also gone towards, looking at Lance Lynn, who's been a very consistent pitcher with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's a bulldog. He's going to eat innings, and he has that ability that the Orioles like for when they need to preserve their bullpen, because sometimes they'll have players that, or starting pitchers who can't get past 5 innings, and then it'll cause for their bullpen to have some issues. So this is one thing the Orioles are going to look at, and that's just the pitching side of it. As for today, pitchers and catchers reported too. They had, of course, Chance Sisco, Caleb Joseph, Austin Wynns, and Andrew Susac were all there. They were the 4 catchers that reported, and between the 4 of them, obviously it looks like it'll be a 3-man race for that starting role as the catcher with the big league club. Chance Sisco obviously is that one of the Orioles' top prospects, if not the top prospect. So they're going to give him a long, hard look. He has been able to hit, which is encouraging. But one thing that they always said that he could work on is his defense. Um, as for some of the other players, Austin Wynns has a really good command of the game. He blocks the plate pretty well. He's a very good defensive catcher. His hitting isn't on the same level as Francisco, obviously, but at the same time, he has a great command of the game, and that has impressed some coaches and people in the front office as well, which is why he will get a chance to try to win over this starting role. As for Caleb Joseph has an inside track. He's the most seasoned out of the three. He does have the experience behind him. He can hit. He's shown that he can bounce back from having a pretty poor season at the plate in 2016 and bounce back with a solid season at the plate in 2017. And the Orioles were at one point had the highest batting average among catchers last season. So the Orioles battery of catchers, Wellington Castillo and Caleb Joseph both had very good hitting seasons last year together. Um, but it's unknown who will win this position. It definitely is going to be a hotly contested position, um, maybe even more hotly contested than the last three rotation roles. So it's just one thing that fans should look out for. Um, you know, there are also some. Tim Beckham showed up at spring training today. Tim Beckham will be moving to third, and then you also have Anthony Santander and Adam Jones who have showed up to spring training as well. Um, and we'll see what happens with that. Uh, Adam Jones is obviously in his last year of his deal. I think he may get another chance to re-sign sometime down the line, but as of right now, Dan Duquette said on Madison All Access with Sarah Perlman and Rock Kabako that he won't uh, be negotiation, or he hasn't been negotiating with Adam Jones or second baseman Jonathan Scope. So that's one thing to look out for. And after that, there's you still have the Manny Machado situation. Um, all those things will be solved in the next couple of weeks, or we don't know. And it possibly may be some new information that comes out when it comes to pitching. Maybe the Orioles add a couple more starters. Maybe they don't add another starter. Maybe they just add one starter. So it's just something to look out for and something to keep your eye out on for the rest of the spring training and at the start of the season. So this is Kyle Andrews signing off, and have a great day, everyone.